Alright, this is Michimonso doing the third part of a request from Guitar Hero 986 Playas, however the name goes. It's a little long, I must critique it maybe, but I guess if you really want to include those things in there, you have to kind of be a little excessive with the name. Anyway, on to Dragon Ball GT, possibly the most notorious of the incarnations of Dragon Ball, particularly because any fan, however reasonably minded they unfortunately are going to be terribly frustrated, if not just utterly wanting to completely destroy every copy of the episodes and filming and everything associated with it. They want to burn to the ground. I must admit that there are justified reasons for it, and frankly there's not a lot of reasons to like the series, because just because it has the Dragon Ball name to it does not mean it's very good, nor does it mean that it has any reflection of Akira Toriyama's thought in it. It would actually seem to have other people's ideas in it, which is fine, but you might as well just not call it Dragon Ball at all. You might as well just say, I don't know, Goku's Grand Tour, or just give it a different name. Don't attach the word Dragon Ball to it, because you're basically desecrating the name, if we're going to use those trite and trite and overused little cliches like that. But the basic plot is that Goku is reduced to being his young self, which actually, I believe, well, it doesn't. It's hard to tell. And it's hard to really confirm a lot of things, because it seems like, if anything, it doesn't reverse Goku in terms of chronological prowess. He still has all the knowledge and experience as head of an adult. Unfortunately, with the kid's body, he can't accomplish everything that he could when he's an adult, and he has like an 8-pack or something like that. So basically it does take him a while, I think, to be able to actually do Super Saiyan again, for example. Not to mention that if he was able to go Super Saiyan as a kid, it would ruin the whole point of the series, which I'll admit is an interesting twist, in that, hey, Goku has to go on a journey and actually not be completely the hero all the time. Instead, he has to be sometimes a screw-up, which he kind of was in this Dragon Ball series. He wasn't just, hey, I know what to do, Kamehameha, boom, and blow the enemy to hell and back. But instead, a lot of times in Dragon Ball, it took some trial and error for him to actually do stuff. For example, against the giant purple monster in the basement of the Red Ribbon Tower. I think that's what they call it, something like that. And he had to, he fought it, but he figured out he couldn't actually do much to it until he actually, I think he broke a hole in it, or the monster did, and then the monster was getting, holy crap, it's cold. And Goku realized, hey, it's frozen, so he punches it and it explodes into a million pieces. And there you go. Unfortunately, there's not much to say about Goku when it gets to the later parts, because either there's the case with Raditz, where he sacrificed himself, or in many other cases of the series, it's just he uses this giant spirit bomb, or uses a super power Kamehameha, and no, he doesn't die anymore, because that would just take too much time, because the whole fucking Dragon Ball bullshit that became especially troublesome when we figure out that the dragon can only bring someone back once. In Goku's case, yeah, I think he had been brought back at one point, but then again, that might have actually been, no, never mind. Goku they could bring back, it was just with everyone else, because they had been killed in Dragon Ball, and they had been brought back. And then the dragon said, yeah, fuck you, I ain't bringing them back again. Then again, I can only do it once, because my powers are limited, and there's this super-powered dragon who actually has arms. That's the amazing part, that's the real distinction. He has arms, he has these iguana ears coming out the side of his head kind of thing, just bleh. He's more like this giant creature from the Black Lagoon look-alike. Anyway, that does remind me also of how Dragon Ball GT became an interesting suggestion, that what if the Dragon Balls cracked? And since they have all this great power, if they cracked, wouldn't there be something, bad happening? And yeah, there's these things called the Black Star Dragon Balls, which basically are the all the bad wishes that have happened with regards to the Dragon Balls. And I think there's only 7. That's the idea, apparently. Or there might have actually been more, but then again, some of them are admittedly not exactly bad. Some of them are just stupid. For instance, the first wish ever made in Dragon Ball in the series was by character Oolong, who is a pig, which, well, they obviously had to change his outfit, because the original one, yeah, it would make me wonder how they were going to censor that whole thing, because any older viewer is going to recognize he wears what was the Maoist communist outfit, hat and everything, except he doesn't make any communist-esque statements, but obviously that was just, I don't know, he was just giving him that outfit because he thought it looked snazzy or something, I would guess. Oolong is not a communist, I will assure you of that, because no communist is as lecherous and perverted as this asshole is. Not to mention he's a complete wuss. But yeah, the wish was for a pair of underwear. I'm not too sure if it was a specific pair of underwear or just, I don't know. Either way, it was a ridiculous wish, and it makes me wonder why the dragon doesn't have higher standards than wishing, or granting the wish, rather, for a pair of underpants. Well, women's undergarments, anyway. But, maybe that's just me. If I were the dragon, some wish for that, I would breathe fucking fire on them. And say, wish for something else, you stupid tub of fat lard. I may know that was redundant, fat lard. Anyway. The other issue that comes with Dragon Ball GT is that, well, there are censorship issues that I actually forgot there was one that's relatively important in Dragon Ball Z, and I will quickly confront it, and that is Mr. Satan, otherwise dubbed as Hercule in the American version. Now, the reason for why they had to change his name is for the same reason they had to change 666 Satan, a very nice manga series I would recommend. They had to change that to OST Parts Hunter, or something like that, basically. Or OTS, I think is what they actually, not OST, I'm thinking too much of original soundtracks. Anyway, there's an obvious reason why they can't exactly have a character called Mr. Satan in an American TV show, and that's because of the fact that it's predominantly Christian, and it would offend a vast majority of them, because, well, there actually are Christians that don't give two shits about the idea of Satan as anything significantly offensive, because they actually view it as metaphorical. Kind of, Satan is just your inner evil, that sort of thing. Nothing actually real, no bad people like that, and Akira Toriyama probably had no intention of offending anyone, but that's the issue when you're actually taking Japanese anything of animation or manga and transferring over to a society that has significantly different ideas about aesthetics, ethics, etc., which is ironic considering that the whole intents and purposes of anime and manga was to try to emulate, I'm not going to say copy or plagiarize, the Western cartoons of Disney, but Osamu Tezuka, the original founder, as it were, the father of manga, and of anime to some extent, that was where he got a lot of his inspiration, as I recall, but I could be wrong on that. Either way. GT had similar censorship issues, but I'm not sure how big they were. But DBZ is probably the best example, not to mention Dragon Ball. But DBZ had, character issues. And again, no one noticed that Videl is an anagram of devil, but Mr. Satan, oh, we gotta change his name right now. There's no question about that. But somehow I would think it would actually support the whole Christian idea of Satan being, mocking or mockable, because this is a guy with an afro and a stupid-looking mustache, and he is a complete and utter wimp. Not to mention, he lies to everyone on the planet that doesn't know about these Z fighters, that he saved the day from Cell and all this other shit. So it would actually seem to make sense to have this character. But I guess this will be probably the longest one, but I don't know how much longer I could talk about the movies, but we'll see. I need to cut this off before I go over time, but I hope you enjoyed this, and there'll be one more part, and enjoy the pictures as well. Anyway, see you later.